This is the plaintiff, Nicoletta Longo. She says the defendant was one of her best friends, so they moved in together and split the rent. Unfortunately, the defendant started living a lifestyle she didn't approve of, and tensions in their relationship led them to part ways. The defendant moved out, stiffed her with 3 months' rent, and she's here suing her one-time pal for the $2,730 she's owed. This is the defendant, Natalie Noriega. She says the plaintiff developed a hostile attitude towards her once they began cohabitating. Her boyfriend practically lived there. He didn't contribute in any way, and she had enough of it and moved out. She gave the plaintiff ample notice. She's not paying for any rent when the plaintiff lived there with her boyfriend, and she thinks the judge will side with her today. She's accused of getting unfriended.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. These litigants were friends until they moved into an apartment together, and the defendant started this weird lifestyle, so the plaintiff says. Now, the defendant says the plaintiff was the hostile one and let her boyfriend live there rent-free. It's the case of lifestyles of the not-so-rich and famous.
Thank you, Douglas. Nicoletta Longo. Yes. You are suing Natalie Noriega for $2,730 for June, July, and August rent, her half of it, that according to you, she didn't pay. What's going on here?
So basically it started, me and Natalie were friends in high school, and we ended up going to the same college in Boston. Freshman year, we decided to do the dorm on campus, and after that, for sophomore year, we decided we wanted to get an apartment together.
Okay, in freshman year, did you two get along?
Yeah.
You were right in each other's faces in the dorm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Everything was hunky-dory. Mm-hmm. So hunky-dory, you decided to get an apartment together.
Exactly.
All right. So you get an apartment together. It's a one-bedroom apartment.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have each of you have a twin bed in the bedroom?
Yes.
And then there's a living room?
Yes.
Kitchen?
Yes.
Okay. And each of your rent is $910?
Yes.
All right. You move in together. Everything's great.
Yes.
Good friends. Best friends.
Yeah.
Wow. So sad. All right. So now you move, you're together in an apartment in your sophomore year. And what happens?
So at the beginning, everything was going good. I would say around maybe early December, we started just little arguments more and more, but everything was still okay.
What was it about? What do you think?
It was more, for me, I just saw our lives going in different directions.
How so?
I think our living styles were different. I'm more a neat freak, and I know this, and she's a little messier than me.
But didn't you guys know that freshman year?
We did.
You did?
But it just, things started, like, we was just bickering off of that.
It got testy. Yeah. I read the text, okay? So she texts you and says, and it was kind of sassy the way you said it, but, you know, like, so would you like me to pick up after you because you left a bottle, you left this, because she doesn't want to live that way. And why should she? She's not sure. No. Why does she have to pick up after you?
Completely understood.
Okay.
If I may, though, prior to those text messages, there was one incident which I kind of mark as the starting point of all of this kind of falling down. She decided to go on to Virginia, I believe, for 4 days throughout the weekend, and I worked doubles. I was working over 70 hours a week and going to school, and we had the dog in the apartment. He was probably
What do you mean by we had the dog?
So her uncle said that when we moved into an apartment together, he would help us get a dog. So he purchased the dog for us. We drove to Maryland together over the summer, got the dog like at 6 weeks old maybe or something.
What a bad idea this is.
Yeah.
And then was there some understanding about whose dog it was?
So yeah, I mean, I always assumed that since her uncle paid for it, you know, it's her dog, whatever. I did split half of the vet fees. But then you guys were sharing the expenses for it. Yeah, so the half of the vet fees, and then that ended in around February when things got sour.
Tell me about the Virginia thing you were starting this
Yeah, so I work all Thursdays through Sunday. My schedule was doubles pretty much, Thursday through Sunday at this place, so I would be gone 12, 13 hours a day. So she was going to be gone Thursday through Sunday. I simply asked a question, I work doubles Thursday through Sunday. Is there any way I can contact, or you can contact one of our friends to come to the apartment and help us let the dog out? He's a 6-month-old puppy. We don't want to leave him in the apartment all day alone.
Which is why sophomores shouldn't have dogs.
Yeah.
That's my theory. My personal theory is you got plenty of time for responsibility later. I can't tell you how short this little window you've got going on here is. And so why, okay, so go on.
So she just got upset, I guess, by that question, and she said that if it's going to be such a big problem for our dog to be staying in our apartment, I'll just have my mother drive all the way up from Connecticut and take him home for the weekend.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, taken a little aback because there was a little bit of an attitude there. She started FaceTiming her boyfriend, complaining about that I said no about the dog, and so I knocked on the door and I
Said
confronted.
no about the dog, what does that mean?
Like said no, like didn't say no, but it was like, she was relaying it to him as if it was an inconvenience for me to be staying home with the dog.
How do you know, because you could hear her?
Yes, because she was in, so we have
Was she texting him or was she talking to him?
She was talking to him on the phone.
Okay, go ahead.
And so I knocked on the door, opened the door, and I was like, if we're gonna be roommates, not friends, let me know, because there's been a distance between us lately. And she was like, don't worry, we've been roommates for the past 6 months anyways. So that's when I said, okay, I told her to her face that I would be moving out in May. I said, okay.
But you have a lease until September.
Until August 31st, yeah.
August 31st, yeah.
So I told her
how
I would
are
be.
you going to move out in May?
So I told her, I gave her 3 options, which are in the text messages. She can either, 1, take me off the leash, to which she refused.
Of course not.
There's
Why
in
should
text,
she take you off the leash? Why should she say, oh, yes, I'll pay you rent?
because her boyfriend had been living there at least more than 2 days a week. I would wake up to him, he would be showering there, he would eat there, he would leave to go wherever he goes there. And
Except for that was never a problem until you two started to get testy with each other, right?
Well, it was kind of, I feel like that's kind of what tested it, because he was there all the time.
Can I just ask you a question?
Yeah,
how did this work out then when your boyfriend did stay over?
So how many times can a roommate let a boyfriend or girlfriend stay overnight before they have to start paying rent?
You know, I think it's really subjective. There's other things that the boyfriend could do, like...
Can they stay over 7 nights a week?
I think in some scenarios it could happen.
What do you say?
I think that it's based on a relationship.
Yeah.
What is it? Why is there a number?
See why this is difficult?
But-
that you move in and then all of a sudden they get a boyfriend or girlfriend and it's like, what's going on here? Going inside the courtroom.
He would stay over, and he would just stay in the room with me.
And her?
Yeah, and her. She had no issue until this time, because I would ask her, I'd be like, do you have an issue with the amount of time he's spending over here? And
No. I'm just kind of wondering.
Yeah.
I think you know what I'm asking, do you?
Yes.
Isn't that awkward?
Yes, it was.
Awkward?
It's not
That's
only...
just the agreement. Like, you guys, there's no,
But
like,
she-
tie on the door. There's no plan. There's no...
Your Honor, if I may, the thing is...
Where did you guys learn, if I may?
Yeah,
Watching TV?
No, I
You don't
learned...
have to say if you may. Go
Your
ahead.
Honor, I learned from the defendant, actually, because I was friends with her the year before when we lived in the dorms, and before that when she had the same boyfriend, so I got to listen to more than you can imagine from over there.
So creepy.
Your Honor, and
There's a difference
it
between
wasn't just
living
me.
in the same room with a couple, and there's a difference between a boyfriend who goes to school in New Hampshire and visits
Right,
his
but
girlfriend in
show
Boston.
me where you
All the
ever
time.
complain about anything until she starts
didn't.
telling you to clean up. I need you to do your own dishes, share cleaning and vacuuming.
Because I'm never
carry your
home,
weight.
so-
And you say, I'm not going to be told what to do. So you can either wait till I have time to do it or you can take action yourself. I'm barely home anyways. The mess is usually just my room. Just my room is a room you
our
share with
room.
her. This is the one weekend I had the apartment to myself, so calm down. I'm not explaining myself. I'm done with this conversation. I'm moving out in May. She says, I don't care if you move out, pay your rent, LOL. And then all of a sudden, through these texts, I'm not going to read them all out loud, but through these texts, the conversation is, you know what? I'm just going to move into the living room by you, right? Which I kind of don't blame you. So by this point, were you guys even talking to each other?
No, we just lived
I
together.
left May 15th, though.
So you guys weren't even talking to each other?
We
Do you
talked-
miss each other at all, or it just got so bad you're done?
I miss the times we had together, because I think we did have a good time, but at this point, I don't think...
It's not going to
it's not going to work out.
No, it's never going to work out to what it was because you
No.
guys don't communicate. And maybe it doesn't have to, you know? It's just kind of sad. So in any event, tell me your legal reasoning for why you think that your name would be on a lease and you wouldn't have to pay throughout the summer.
So I texted her each and every time that I told her that I would be moving out in May. I gave her the 3 options: 1, have your boyfriend pay; 2, have your father, who's been paying your bills, pay the other half; or 3, look for a new roommate in February.
Okay, so one option that makes sure people don't have to go to court is you find a subletter and you tell her, listen, I'm getting a subletter. And if she says to you, no, you're not, you know, then you have, hey, I tried to do this, I tried to do
But
that, but
that's
you
what
didn't
I
even do
offered.
anything. No, what you said to her was, you have 3 options. Your daddy pays, because your daddy's a payer.
Exactly.
Okay? Your daddy pays. You take me off the lease.
Mm-hmm.
What's in it for her to take you off the lease that you signed?
I told her.
Or your boyfriend, and by the way, your boyfriend did move in and is paying now, right?
Now he is, but I have assigned from where he was living before. He was living at his best friend's residence, and he was paying $700 in rent a month, and I have a letter signed.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with whether he's paying rent somewhere else. Doesn't have to do with whether he's staying there too much.
He wasn't, so he got a...
Stop. If you guys think I'm going to sit here and try to figure out who was sleeping with who, what days, how loudly, whether it was your freshman year or your sophomore year, you are out of your minds. It's not going to happen. Okay? When you want to tell me that Judge, I was constructively evicted out of that place by the amount of time that John was staying there. He was there every single day, and that was such a problem for me. I couldn't live there. I was constructively evicted out of there. Show me evidence of that. Because unless I see evidence of that, I'm not going to buy it. I'm just going to buy that what it is that you two started to not get along and that you didn't want a part of the lease anymore, and school ends in May. So that's all it looks like. Exactly what it looks like, I think, is what it is.
Okay.
But go ahead. Go ahead. No, it's all right.
Just saying, so the text that we were reading from February 12th when I was calling her out, after that text, she said, John's sleeping over whenever I want, move out when you need to, I will not be paying your half of the rent, and then blah, blah, on and on.
Right.
But she acknowledged that John was there many nights and would be sleeping over whenever she wanted to.
No, I understand. Here's what...
I know my name's on a legal contract.
Yeah, your name's on a lease, man.
I know.
So, if you would, there would have to be some kind of track record in these texts of something other than what I'm seeing. I know what the problem is. At some point, you didn't really want to be around each other anymore, and that's fine. But there are, there's still obligations, legal obligations that you got to abide by. I find in favor of the plaintiff in this case, and the amount of the, by the way, Dad did pay it so that you could stay living there, and the amount of the $2,730. But I do have a question. Was there a security deposit paid?
Yes, there was. She did pay. We each paid $500 for security.
And then did you get back any of the security deposit?
No.
All right. So from that $2,730, $500 should come off of it for your security deposit, correct?
Sure. Yeah.
So $2,230 verdict for the plaintiff.
Perfect.
Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
Make sure you get that other $500 from the boyfriend.
So the judge fines for the plaintiff, but the defendant does have to pay up that rent that you didn't pay. Did you have any idea that you wouldn't have to pay it?
I mean, I had some idea. I'm an adult. My name is on a written contract. However, there were some extenuating circumstances that the judge didn't find in favor of, so it's okay. It happens.
Was it awkward for you having her boyfriend there so much?
I mean, of course it was. I understand she's a young lady in a relationship, but when there is only two people on a lease, I believe that it needs to be followed. So.
Oh, very good.
Thank you.
Okay, good enough that way, please. All right, Ms. Longo, if you'll come out. Let me ask you, don't you think it was kind of unfair for you to have the boyfriend there so much?
So he wasn't really over there that much. I just don't think I need to get into that much detail because the bottom line was the rent wasn't paid, but he only stayed over maybe 2 times a week. He had a full-time job.
Okay, well, congratulations. You've won the case. All right, very good.
Okay,
Dad?
thank you.
All righty. Thank you very much. Harvey?
Doug, the judge mentioned constructive eviction. What that means is that the other person is so hostile, makes it so difficult to live there that you just can't be there anymore, but it has to be extreme. And
This is the plaintiff, Salima Davis. She says she and the defendant used to hang out together, and she ended up loaning him $300 to get him out of a jam. She's done everything in her power to get the hot-headed defendant to pay her back, has had no luck, and that's why she's suing the crazy guy for the money he still owes her. This is the defendant, Marvin Sergio Carter. He says the plaintiff volunteered to serve food at a charity fundraiser for troubled teens. And the next thing he knows, she's saying he owes her $300 for the day. No one got paid for their services. The plaintiff has lost her mind. And this case is nothing more than a scorned woman looking for love from him. Oh, her? No way. He's accused of leading a lady on.
All parties, please raise your right hands. Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Salima Davis.
Yes.
You are suing Marvin Sergio Carter for $300, the amount of a loan that, according to you, you made to him and he has not repaid you.
Yes.
Tell me what happened.
On February 22nd, Mr. Carter had an event, and I attended his event.
What kind of an event?
He has a band where he picks up troubled teenagers off the street, and he put them into a band and teach them music and things like that. So he invited me to the event.
Okay, I'm sorry. Tell me about your organization.
The Approaching Storm Marching Band.
Say it again.
Approaching Storm.
Approaching Storm Marching Band. Tell me about it.
Basically what we do is we find children that are on their last chance, take them out of the streets, teach them music, travel. We've sent 28 kids to college.
Travel to perform?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You sent 28 kids?
To college. And
how did you send them to college? You paying for their college?
No, ma'am. By helping them attain music scholarships and
okay.
introducing them to alternative colleges and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. All right. So he had an event, and you were there, and
yes, I was there, and
how do you two know each other?
I met him in 2012 when I moved back from Baltimore, Maryland.
And were you friends?
No, we met.
Well, how did you end up at his event?
He invited me.
Okay. So were you friends?
Well, we was friends before that. Before the
that.
event, yes.
Okay.
And he invited me to the event. I attended the event. He asked me.
Like friends, or friends with benefits, or friends with? Were you dating? What was the relationship?
It was off and on.
It was off and on.
Yes.
Okay.
I attended the event. He asked me to use some items, chairs, tables, things like that. I brought it to the event. I helped at the event. After the event, 2 days later, he called me. He said that he had made $2,200 at the event and someone stole the money. So at
Did
this
that happen?
time,
Yes, ma'am, it did.
Who would steal the money from a charity? Do you know who it is?
No.
Where was the money stolen from?
We had it on the bus because we was packing stuff up, trying to move stuff.
But where on the bus that it would get stolen?
Amongst the children. Sometimes, Your Honor, it takes them a little longer to get it.
Why was the money amongst the children? Because it shouldn't take you longer to get it. Like, why would the money be in the children's hands and not in yours?
Well, it wasn't in the hand. It was just in a case on the bus while we were moving drums and all that type of stuff.
Okay, well, one of the lessons you want to teach the children is safekeeping money so that things like this don't happen. Go ahead.
he's very careless. The money was in his hand in a bag. He put it down.
Okay.
And on the 26th, he told me he had an event down in New Orleans, and he needed to get the kids down there. And that $2,200 was for the traveling expenses to get there. So he asked me, could he borrow $500? I said, I don't have $5. I just paid my bills, but I can lend you $3. He said, fine. He came over 3 o'clock in the morning because they was leaving in the weird hours. So he had his kids in the bus. They brung my chairs in the house. I gave him $300. He said, April 18th, I can give you back your money. So April 18th came. He called me on the 19th and asked me, can I go to Virginia with him because his mother was ill, which I knew about that before then, and that he needed help driving. So I said, okay, it's your mother, so I understood, so I will go with you. Well, it was like 3:30 in the morning. He asked me to meet him in Brooklyn. Actually,
why does everyone wake at 3:30 in the morning this often? Okay,
actually, it's 3 o'clock in the morning because he's a bus driver and he works crazy hours.
Okay.
And this was the time.
So he asked you to meet him so that you could drive with him to Virginia.
Yes.
To visit his sick mom.
Yes.
And?
So when I get out there, I'm calling him. I'm in a really bad area. I don't know where I'm at, and I'm calling him. He decides to answer my call at 3:30.
As opposed to 3, which is when you were out there?
Yes.
Okay.
So when he answered the call, he asked me, are you where I told you to be? I said, I'm where you asked me to be. So he walks up to my car a few minutes later. He starts ramping and raving, yelling, cursing, calling me all kind of names.
Why?
I didn't understand what happened.
Well, what did he say he thought happened? What was he mad at?
He was
the
already...
delay or?
No. He was already angry, upset about his situation with his mom already. All I was doing is trying to help.
Right, but so exactly. So give me something I can hang my hat on for why it would happen the way you're testifying. What was he mad at? Was he mad because he felt you were late? Was he mad?
No.
Like what? What was he saying?
When he came to my car, he knocked on the window. Mm-hmm. He said, roll down the window.
Okay.
So I said, what is your problem? I said, I don't know what's going on. He said, I told you that I had to do this and do that, and you stressing me out, or some saying all kind of crazy stuff. And I'm like, how am I stressing you out?
Because of what? The half hour?
No.
Okay.
I didn't
Did
understand.
he say why he felt stressed out by you?
No, he never said. He just went off.
Okay.
And then I said, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? So I put my car and turned my car on and I drove off. He calls me. He said, if you don't bring your A back here now to take me to see my mother, you know I'll know where you live at. He started making the crazy threats.
By text or by by voice?
Phone. This is by voice. I hung up. He kept calling. I didn't answer the phone. So as I'm getting on Brooklyn Bridge, I answered the phone again. He said, where you at? He said, I'm sorry. I'm just going through some things. I didn't mean it. Just stop where you at. I said, no. He said, just meet me at the pier. I said, at the pier for what? He said, because this will be your last day you see your kids. Exact words. So as the next 7:30 in the morning, he called me. He said, you think you stopped the show? I got to Virginia. So 9:30 in the morning, I texted him. I said, I'm pressing charges on you.
For what?
For making those threats to me. He texts me and he sends me this long text. Me to make my statement. You would get your money in 2 weeks. Somebody named Summer will contact you.
May I see? Do you have the text?
Yes.
Let me see them. What's going on?
I don't know what she's talking about. And she will make you think that I'm crazy. What she's saying, it happened, but she changed the words up. She's like the media right now. So one thing happened, she make it seem like something else happened. I did ask her to meet me at 3 o'clock in the morning because I got off a bus at 3 o'clock in the morning. I just came from St. Louis or somewhere. I knew my mother was going to die, but I tried to hurry up and get there. She always asked me, I want to go with you, I want to go with you, I want to go on trips. I write, you know what, meet me about 3 o'clock in the morning. I need you to help me drive to Virginia because I have to go. She says, okay, she met me. She came there. Her sense of direction is crazy. I'm a professional driver. If you say you got to be in a certain place, you got to be in a certain place. I say, why are you way down there? I'm by a park. What park? Some park over here in Brooklyn. What do you mean in some park in Brooklyn?
What, didn't you tell her where to meet you?
Yeah, but her sense of direction, she don't know Brooklyn that well, I guess. So at that point, I'm like, why this girl can't find where I tell her to be? So now I am frustrated. She calls me back and says, I'm on the corner. I said, are you in a bus stop? She said, yeah. I said, well, get out of the bus stop. Come up some. She's still in the bus stop. I walk over there and knock on the window. Blah, blah, blah. Can't you see that this is a bus stop? Causing all types of problems. Come on, man, get out of the bus stop. Why are you talking to me that way? Because I'm trying to tell you to do something, you're not paying attention. I'm trying to get something done. We got to move.
Maybe you should be a little more deferential to somebody who's going to help you to drive you to Virginia to see your mother. Maybe you shouldn't be yelling at her.
Yeah, I guess. But that's what happened.
Because you were sounding like a great guy until right now. If I got up at 3 in the morning to drive somebody to see their sick mother, I wouldn't be yelling at them and calling them an idiot because they couldn't find a place. I mean,
you know what?
Over half an hour or 20 minutes or whatever it was.
Frustrated, couldn't get to the point.
She says you called her a blank.
I don't know, Your Honor.
I don't know.
I don't know.
If you don't know, that's a yes.
Okay, well, I don't know.
Who's the lady with you?
That's not my character, so.
Okay, who's the lady with you?
That's Yolanda.
But is she your girlfriend, your
Oh, no,
wife?
she's the administrator of the program.
Got it, okay.
Okay.
So, tell me, so she got mad and she drove off.
That's what happened. That's what happened.
So, according to her, you then call her and tell her it's going to be your last day on earth if you don't get back here.
Nah, none of that happened, Yana.
How did it happen after that?
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So if it's not clear at all, loan or gift, which is it, loan or gift?
It's always a loan.
Always?
Always.
That's actually interesting. So just automatically, presumption is it's a loan.
I think if you don't set up parameters, that leaves room for error, so it might be a gift.
Really?
Yeah.
You're one that gets a lot of money from people, aren't you?
I do get a lot of money from people.
What do you think?
I think it's always a loan. A loan all the way.
Okay, I tend to agree with you. Going inside the courtroom.
I didn't say,
What did you say?
I don't know what I said, but I definitely ain't said anything about, you know, I'm rapping and raving and all that, Yana, but I certainly ain't said anything about.
Well, you really know your way around women, huh?
Well, not really, but I just...
What was your relationship with this lady? On again, off again?
Well, first of all, I was impressed by her skills to do paperwork.
Listen, tell my husband to never write that in a Valentine's Day card. Were you romantic or not? Or sometimes, or not really, but not totally, but friends? But...
I was misleading.
How's that?
Because, you know, I used my charm to get her to do things. You know, she thought she was going to get the goody-woody. but I just couldn't do it, Your Honor.
Wait, I'm sorry. What did you just say?
Oh my goodness.
Are you sure you want
Were you ever intimate with her, yes or no?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you would woo her but never close the deal because you wanted her to do your paperwork?
Well, she was good at a lot of things, but that was one of the things, yes.
Tell me about the $300.
She told me, I asked her to come to the event, and I did. He was her chairs, her tables, her pressure cookers, all that stuff. And we brought the chairs and stuff back, the tables and all that stuff. The kids were on the bus. But nobody exchanged no money. She didn't give me any money.
She didn't hand you $300?
Nah, she never gave me $300.
Let me see your phone with the text.
It starts from here at the beginning.
Kind of leave it out of my phone as drama, but.
As it ends up, your mom passed away on that trip?
Same day.
Did you make it to see her?
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
good.
standing right there when she passed away.
Was she cognizant and were you able to talk to her?
You know what, Your Honor? She knew I was there. She said, the last thing I wanted to do is see all you guys together.
That's
she died
nice.
on Easter Sunday. Came and rose at the same time.
Yeah. We cannot be friends or communicate any further. Your money you would get that summer will bring it to you just when I get time. I'm dealing with other things now. I know you don't give a blank because you already expressed that. Please, I think erase my number and all contacts. Enjoy your life in the next 2 weeks. Someone will bring you $300. That's the end. This will never be reconsidered. Tell the police that. Then you keep saying, but you told me I'd have my money on the 18th. If I knew you were going to act like a savage, I never would have lent you the money. And you don't say, what are you talking about? You didn't lend me money. You say, I'm not going to have it Friday. I've got a funeral to go to. Come in my face and I will show you a savage. Mm-hmm. Get the blank off my phone and come then and get it blank. Mm-hmm. You texted her that?
Yep.
So this is what I get from you. Wow, just give me my money. You text back, yo, get off my phone or you will get your money now.
I don't know what happened to her.
Why didn't you just get her money?
Because I don't owe her no money.
But you're not saying that ever. Every single text, so you're a liar. Every single text, you are saying you're gonna get your money. Your money, not, so that tends to be, I have to decide who to believe. I don't know either one of you. When every single text that you answer her is this like crazy, disrespectful, horrible stuff, which makes her story now sound true. And then you never once say, I don't know what you're talking about, I don't owe you money. You're saying that now because you don't feel like paying the money. All right.
Your money.
Do you have something to show me? Yes or no?
Yeah,
besides your flapping gums, because I've had it with your flapping gums.
All right.
Nothing else? $300 verdict for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
Both sides, hold on.
Say, hold on.
Yes, hold
Okay.
on.
Well, the defendant was in there, and now he's out here. He said, I got it. What happened?
You know how it is, man. She's scorned the charm. She really was after me. She earned $300 for knowing me. That'll help her in life. I don't owe her nothing. She ain't never give me nothing. She's cute, though. I like the way she put it together.
Mm-hmm. Well, why didn't you just say, I don't owe you anything in those texts? That's not what you said.
We decided as a board that we were just going to give her the $300. So in the texts, I was saying, I'm going to give you your money because that's what we decided to do, give her money that she's requesting.
Okay. All right. Down the hallway this way.
Oh.
Your documents wait for you there. All right, so come on here. You have a big smile on your face. What's going through your mind right now?
I'm just glad I won my case. He came in here to make people laugh and be a clown. That's his thing. That's what he does. But I'm good.
Is he as charming as he says he is?
No, his game is not that good.
Harvey?
Here's the deal. When it's unclear, the presumption is that when you give somebody money, the presumption is they are going to pay you back. If it's going to be a gift, you got to have clear evidence that it was a gift.
This is the plaintiff, Natalie Bomba. She says she and the defendant have been friends since 2015, and she loaned her money out of the goodness of her heart when she was in a time of need. She can't seem to get the ingrate to pay her back the $1,840 she owes her, so she's suing her here and now at the People's Court. This This is the defendant, Joy. She says the plaintiff was practically homeless, so she let her live with her rent-free while she got back on her feet. She can't believe the nerve of this woman suing her in the People's Court after all she did supporting her for years. Bottom line, she owes this woman nothing but a curt goodbye and good riddance after this case is done, and the judge will side with her. She's accused of stiffing a friend.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. These litigants were good friends, but when the defendant was in a time of need, the plaintiff loaned her money, a lot of it, and got stiffed. But the defendant says the plaintiff was almost homeless, and she let the plaintiff live rent-free for years. It's the case of a friend in need is not necessarily a friend indeed.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Natalie Bamba, you are suing your former roommate, Joy, for $1,840. You say she owes you and most ungratefully will not repay. Tell me how you two met.
We actually met in 2015.
And how did you meet?
2015, we met online on some site.
All right, and then what?
Shortly after that, I became homeless. And she had a 2-bedroom house in Pennsylvania. She offered to take me in. And
how long were you living in her house?
Oh God, since I moved into the house in PA, we've been living together.
Right. How long did you live in the house in Pennsylvania without paying rent?
From around September, August of 2015 until around November when we moved out.
November of what year?
2015, sorry.
Okay. So 2 months, is that my answer?
Yes.
Okay. And then in November of 2015, where did you move to?
We moved to Long Island.
Okay.
To Massapequa.
Okay.
We were staying in a 10 by 20 room.
Okay.
We were splitting rent at that time.
Okay.
And it was $1,000 rent. We each put $1,000 down, and we were both working in Long Island at the time also.
All right. Now, the apartment in question that you moved to is yet another apartment, right?
Yes, we moved from that 10 by 20 apartment into, it wasn't really an apartment, it was a room, into a 1-bedroom apartment, which was $1,400.
Okay.
And we split that as well.
Was there a security deposit placed on that? And it was $700 each?
Yes.
Is it accurate that she paid $700 towards a security deposit?
Yes.
So now let's talk about, one of you had a pet. Was it you?
Yes.
All right. And what's the name? Is it a dog?
It's a dog.
What's the name of the dog?
Louie.
Louie. All right. At some point, according to you, Louie needed some very expensive surgery, and you fronted some money. Tell me about that.
At the time, it was November 2018. We took the dog to New York Veterinary Specialty Center.
How long had you been living with the dog?
Since I lived with her in Pennsylvania.
So you had that dog in your apartment or 10 by 20 room?
The entire time.
You had the dog in the 10 by 20 room?
And the cat.
So you had lived with the dog for 3 years?
Yeah. She said
your dog needed surgery?
Correct.
And what was the surgery your dog needed?
He had intestinal problems, so he needed surgery with his intestines.
Okay, so that was going to cost how much?
The approximate cost was $8,000.
Wow. And how much did it end up costing?
About $7,500.
All right. How did you get the money to do that?
I had to take out a loan from Care Credit. I had some from my savings, and Natalie Bamba gave me $1,000.
All right. And was there ever any understanding that she was going to reimburse you for that?
She kept saying she would.
And what would you answer?
I told her to hold off, don't pay me. Because she didn't take out savings. She borrowed from her aunt.
So you told her to wait until when?
Until she paid off those. Because she, at the time, was telling me that she paid $5,000.
Did you ever tell her she didn't have to pay it?
No. I told her she didn't have to pay it at that time.
And according to you, you never thought you had to pay it, correct?
I did not.
Why not?
I will say because it was not 2 months, it was 6 months that Natalie lived free in my house. She was homeless when we met. I did put much work into her car, her brakes. She was living out of her car, and at one point it was unable to move. And I didn't save every receipt, but I paid these things for her and I did not expect it back, nor did I sue her for it back or request for it back because I knew the position that she was in. I just hoped that one day, if I needed something, she would do the same for me.
What's the peril of loaning a good friend money?
You are not going to get it back unless you have any written agreement.
So your friends are that lousy, huh?
They can be.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Going inside the courtroom.
She says that you owe her $115 for a separate vet visit that happened after that. What do you say to that?
That did happen, and that she would get the $115 back.
You
and that
did
would
tell
be
her that
fine.
you would pay
I
it.
absolutely did.
But did you?
I did not, because I was sued and I didn't know how to proceed with communication then.
Okay. What is the $700? I understand. The $700 has to do with your security deposit,
Yes.
right? Did you get out of the lease?
I moved out in July of
But were you guys
2019.
living month to month, or were you in the middle of a lease? What was it?
The lease was done in December, and it was month to month from that point on.
Okay. And when did she move out?
So she moved out July, I believe the second week in July, right around my birthday. And the reason—
And why did you move out? Let me ask you.
I moved out because she brought somebody in the house, a third person, who is addicted and
To what?
actively using.
How do you know that they were actively using?
This woman came in the house and she was often like nodding out, falling over, stumbling. She couldn't make a complete sentence. And I approached her about it and I said, why is she here like this?
And what did she say?
She said, it's heart medication. It's heart medication.
Who was
It
this
wasn't-
person?
my friend.
Okay, but I meant, why was she living in your—
No, she wasn't living. She was just visiting, actually. And
For how long was she visiting?
so she used to come over on the weekends. Friday to
weekend?
Saturday, every other. But the point is that I'm trying to make is that it's not just I had someone nodding out in the house. That's absolutely not true. She does have an anxiety condition.
Okay, let's talk about that $700 that she's suing you for, first of all, because you ended up staying in the place.
Yes.
And then you didn't pay rent for one of the months.
Yes.
And then the landlord took the security deposit as rent, right?
Yes.
Okay, why wouldn't you then owe her, because she's expecting that money back when you move out, so why wouldn't she be right that you owe her the $700?
When I move out, I absolutely
No, but why? The landlord already gave it to you by letting you skip rent. So you owe her the $700
Yes,
for
I do.
sure. Now, the vet bills, you agree to $115 of it. It's the $1,000 that is in debate.
Correct.
$25 remaining balance for June 2019 cable bill. Do you have that bill?
I don't have the physical bill because I never got it. It was all online, and I don't have access to Optimum. However,
That's fine with me. I hope it's fine with you if I just dismiss that part because you're not proving anything.
I understand.
Okay, so that
I
one's
do
gone.
have text messages
And then the
from her
next
saying that she
question
owes it.
is that $1,000. All right, now you've submitted a series of texts that went back and forth. They're very voluminous, but there's one in particular that I'd like to discuss with you.
Sure.
You say to her, you act like I'm asking you for something unreasonable when I ask for the $700 back or the $25 or the $100. I presume you meant $115 there. When really, I need to be asking for the $1,000 back also.
Yes.
Okay, so clearly there was a point in time when you had already, I presume, moved out at this point.
Yes.
And you're talking about the money owed, and the $1,000 is not part of it. And it is only then that you say, you know what, I should be asking you for that $1,000, but I'm not. Then why weren't you ever asking for it back? Why is there this text that says, what I really need to be asking for is $1,000 back? That sounds to me like somebody who felt like, this is your dog too. You've been through a lot with this dog. In fact, you've been in a 10 by 20 room with the dog.
Yes.
And, and now the dog needs you and you ponied up some dough. And then now, after you think about it and scratch your head and you're mad at the way she's behaving over the $700, I should be asking for that $1,000 back too. That's how it tastes to me. You see?
I understand.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case. However, as I stated, she borrowed money from her aunt.
Yeah, you kick.
And
Yeah.
she
I'm
told me
kind
at
of
the
not
time.
buying it. I'm kind of not buying it. I'm going to order you to pay the $115 in vet bills that you had always agreed to pay. I'm going to order you to pay the $700. She doesn't have to wait for it because you already got the benefit of it by not paying rent then. So that $700 you didn't pay in rent, that other $700 belongs to her. So I'm ordering you to pay her $815. So $815 verdict for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff is going to get $800 and some dollars, $815 back. Joy, you were convinced you were going to prevail totally in this case. You didn't. What do you think?
That's okay. I'm confident, and the judge was a fair ruling, and I'm happy with it.
Okay, you guys really bounced around a lot together, didn't you?
Yes.
It's over now.
It's over now. Yeah.
How's the dog, by the way?
He's doing better, thank you.
Okay, good enough.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You must sign some documents. Ms. Bamba, think you learned anything from all of this?
I like to think so.
Like what?
Don't get into anything with anybody, ever.
Ever again?
Ever.
Okay.
I'll be living alone.
You brought a cheering crowd here.
I
with
did.
you. Okay. Did they help you?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
All right, good enough. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Harvey?
You know, Doug, it's even more important when you loan a friend or a relative money to get something in writing, an email, a text confirming what's done. It preserves the friendship and it avoids lawsuits.